So in our yesterday's session, we started understanding how to do the database operations with JPA module. So that means by using JPA module, how you are making the basic CRUD operations like inserting data, deleting data, updating data, as well as select operations without writing SQL queries point of view, how JPA is provided the APIs and what are the repositories available, what are the methods available, and we are trying to understand each and every method information also we try to understand. So that means in yesterday's session mostly we focused on select operation, nothing but we completed in previous session. It's all about how to insert data. So whether you are doing insertion of data or updating the data, deleting the data, or maybe select operations, whatever it is, entity class and repository is always common. Simple thing is the moment you are working with Spring Boot JPA means whenever you have a database table, definitely you will make sure always an entity class got created as well as associated to entity class. You will make sure always a repository is also created. That is always a common thing. There is nothing to say again about individually for these tables you have to create the tables, for these tables you don't need to create. No, 99% is for every table generally we will create a, for every table perspective we will create entity class, and for every entity we will create a repository. So that is a common thing. Whatever the operations you are doing, it doesn't matter. Creating entity and repositories are always common. Always. Okay. So now, and yesterday's session point of view, we understood. So especially we know how to insert multiple records at a time. So that means more than one entity object you have, a list of objects, then you can use save all method. So if you are using save all means it will start inserting all these employee entity objects as a employee records in the employee table level as a record. So that means the number of entity objects available, those many insert queries will be executed. 10 employee objects, 10 insert queries will be executed when you are doing this save all. When you have only one object, then you have to use a method called as save method by passing single entity object. So these are all with respect to. So what you have to understand from this is, so it's all about save is all about inserting data. Save all is all about multiple records when you want to insert, then save all method you have to use. And after that, we started understanding about select operations. So delete operations we will understand later. It's a basic thing. Select operations will have a lot of concepts. So we started understanding select operations, nothing but reading operations. So that means select start from product, where clauses based on one column, two column. Generally, we will have some scenarios, right? That is the point we will take all these scenarios. Okay. So let's continue wherever we left yesterday. So what we did yesterday is first requirement I taken select start from product. That nothing but, I mean, not this one. The generic requirement is loading all the records from a table, all the data from a table. Simply, what is the method you have to use is find all method you have to use. So if you go here, yeah. So what it is doing, it's all about find all method. So whenever you want to load all the records, simply you have to use find all method. Then simply it will, what is going to do, what is going to happen with this small one line, you are getting all the employee records into one table, one to as a list of objects. So your JPA is helping you to, okay, let's continue. You create all what setter getter methods as well as constructors also by using Lombok. So going further you can use Lombok. Okay, so employee operations, in case if you want, it's out of, or else for each so system dot, yeah, nothing, simply I'm printing one by one record from the list. So but the point you have to concentrate here, So here we got find all and simply you got all the records. How many records there in the employee table means almost what employee table, right? Yeah, 10 records because we inserted 10 yesterday. So you will see that no. Yeah, we completed this yesterday also, but I'm just revising the things. Load all employee information. Okay, let me execute only that specific method. So what it will do, it will start loading all the internal. It will execute a select star from query and then it will convert those results set into objects and objects being added to array list. And finally array list is added. Okay. So see here, you got all 10 employee objects, employee 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, all employee. If you observe the query also, select star from table. There is no where condition. So after that, we taken one more requirement is it's all about all the records. Then what is the method you have to use is find all method. So what is the conclusion you came to know here it is? You have to use find all method. No. Next requirement what we taken? In case the moment whenever we want records based on the a specific column and its value and that too that column is a primary key column. A table will always have a only one primary key column. So nothing but whenever we want to get data based on a primary key column, only one column perspective, then what you have to do? JPA given a specification or with respect to primary key column, and we discussed yesterday also, it's all about identifier column. So I explained yesterday what is identifier column. So we have a method called as findBy method like this. Yeah, if you observe here, this is the method we used yesterday. And this is the predefined method of our JPA repository interfaces. So findBy ID is the method. But the moment of findBy ID is nothing but it is always pointed to the identifier column of entity class. So what is the point of identifying the sorry, it is pointing to the identifier of entity class means if you go to our entity class, you defined always one ID column, identifier column. So that ID find by ID point of view, whatever the value you are passing here. So whenever you are calling this method, what internally JPA will do is internally JPA will understand like this guy want to get records based on the primary key column value, based on the primary key column by based on primary key column value. So how it knows that? That is how this find by ID is pointed to the identifier column. Identifier column is nothing but we will generally identifier column we will always give for the primary key columns. That annotation we will add always for the primary key columns of the table with respect to entity class. So why I added ID here? Because it's a primary key column in the table. In the real table, it's a primary key column. That's why I added ID column here. So this ID is belongs to the that find by ID. And same thing being whatever the return type you used for the identifier column, same value find by ID is always expecting. Find by ID is always expecting same value. That is what details I given you yesterday. So that's why the moment you are sending one value here, what it is doing, it is understanding like select star from employee where where and where class level it is taking one column name. Which column name it is taking? Primary key column name. How we taken file primary key column? Because identifier column. So why it is identifier column? Because you called find by id method. So the find by id method is always pointed to the identifier column. So that's why internally it will take like employee. So internally it will take like employee underscore id equal to one value. Employee id equal to one value. So how it knows? I mean this one value you sent, right? So that is given to the employee ID. And that's why you got yesterday based on the one point of view. If you're passing 100, there is no data with 100, right? So that's why you got yesterday some exception. Exception means nothing. Simply it's a Java 8 feature again. You can do like this. If object, sorry, dot is empty or is present, whatever it is. So it's all about Java features, guys. Else sys out of no data. Yeah. So this is given for the purpose of avoiding the null pointer exceptions in Java 8 feature. So no data available. So then that's all. Okay. So see here now I passed 100. That means 100 means if you go to the table, yeah, this is the table, right? So we have only 1, 2, 3, 4 until till. There is no record of 100 for the employee ID. So that's why you will get like no data available in this case based on our logic. So let me enable that logic, load by employee ID. So this method we discussed yesterday only. So this method is executed means internally it will go here, find by ID is executed and you given 100 and that 100 value is passed to this employee ID level now. So with the 100 there is no record in the DB table. So that's why you will get data. See, no data available. If you given as something like 10 or whatever it is, 5, 6 or whatever it is. So it's a long data type we taken. That's why L we have to give. So now let's execute again the program. Now you will get 5 record data. That means 5 and his salary and his age, his location, all the information that record you will get as a entity object and we printed it. So see here all employee 5 information we got back here. So here we got employee object. So it's presented one object. So that's why it's all Java 8 feature again. So this is what we understood about the find by ID method. And find by ID, what is the point of find by ID here? Find by ID is always pointed to the identifier column of entity. Then what about, my question is next, then what about non-identifier columns? Nothing but non-primary key column. Generally identifier column we will give for the primary key of table in general. Then what about non-identifier columns? Nothing but non-primary key columns. That is what the question here it is. So that means now my requirement is I want employees from the city base. On a city base, I want an employees. For example, if you go to the DB and if I am writing SQL query like this, select star from employee details where city equal to I given like Hyderabad. So I don't know what exact value I given, spelling mistakes or whatever it is. See, I don't know. Yeah, spelling mistake problems. Okay. So I'll give exact. For example, spelling mistake, that's why there is no records. If I given real value, Bangalore or whatever it is. Now what happened? Total 3 members are there from Hyderabad. So that means total 3 records I got. Now same thing I want to do via JPA perspective. And that too this time city is what? Not a primary key column. It's not a primary key column. So then how can you do that? Let's understand. This is where again JPA module is making some really good feature. It is very interesting feature also. So understand here now. Okay. So it's all about dealing with non-primary key columns. Okay. So requirement is what? First, let's take requirement. This is the requirement. That means in a SQL point of view, generally you will write this query. But JPA point of view, what is our agenda? Most of the times we cannot write SQL queries for small DB operations. So requirement perspective is all about based on the city. Get employee information based on city. So how many employees are there? I want all those based on the city value point of view. Okay. So let's see here. Public void employees, get employees by city, something, whatever it is. And I'll take some method argument also. I'll pass value dynamically this time, city name or whatever it is. Okay. So see here now. So what generally we will do whenever we are doing any DB operation by using JPA, the most important thing is repository. And from which table we are doing employee table. So that's why we have to take employee repository. Okay, cool. Then yesterday, if you observe here, you have find all method for loading all the data without any where condition, as well as this find all belongs to same thing only. Now, if you observe here, find by ID, this is used for what? Primary key column perspective. This is where. That means it is pointed to what? Employee ID. But my point this time is city. This time is city. So I want to get data based on the city, not based on the employee ID. Then what I have to do? See, there is no method find by city, find by male, find by gender, find by country, find by. No, it's not there. Only thing available only for the purpose of for primary key column, JPA provided a predefined method called as find by ID. It will always point it to the primary key column. But what about the non-primary key columns? So in this case, what JPA is doing is JPA is came up with a concept called as custom find by methods. Custom or derived find by methods. It's a very interesting also. Good thing, good feature also. So see here. Now, if it is primary key, you use find by ID. But it's all about problem with non-primary key columns, like all other columns except employee ID. Except employee ID, name, age based on the age, based on the salary, based on the city, based on the gender, based on the country point of view. How we are going to do that? So let's see here. So JPA given a concept called as custom find by or derived find by methods. What JPA is saying here is we as a developer, what JPA is saying is define an abstract method, define an abstract method inside repository with following instruction, with following instructions. What it is? So those are all called as for custom find by method. Generally, we will use for the non-primary key columns perspective. So what it is point number one, what it is saying is followed by find by. Generally, find by we used where here if you observe, and after that they use id is nothing but primary key column. It's all about employee id, email id, like whatever the primary key column you given in the table, that will be okay. But in this case, in place of id, what you have to give is, okay, make sure provided entity class, understand the point, entity class property name. What you have to give? Find by you have to write. And where you have to define this method, guys? An abstract method inside the repository from which table you are loading, and whatever the repository you are having, go to that repository and define a method inside the our own repository. So earlier findBy ID method came from where? From the code repository or JPA repository, whatever it is. So it's from the predefined methods. But this time, the method whatever you are creating, you are directly creating in our own repository. Go to the our own repository. As of now, there is no methods. But from where you got that save method, findBy ID, find all, save all, findBy ID, find all those four methods came from the JPA repository as an inheritance point of view. But this time, the method, whatever I'm saying, custom, that's why they given custom. Custom means as a developer, we are making some customization. Okay, or we are derived also. Sometimes people will call it as derived. That means as a developer, we are deriving our own findBy method. Our own findBy method. So that's why what it is really saying is followed by findBy, give entity class property name. Property name means for which column. So in this case, for which column, based on which column, so or I can write like this, based on which column we are trying to load data. We are trying to get data. So what is the column, what we expected based on the city? Based on the city we are expecting this time, right? So now what you have to do, followed by findBy method you have to define. Okay, based on the entity class property name that you have to give, and followed by, I'm writing syntax, and data type of property, again which property, entity class, and some argument name. So like that you have to define always a custom findBy method. So now my requirement is what? Based on the city column. So the moment you got city is a non-primary key column. You cannot use findBy ID. That's why what you are doing, you have to write your own findBy method like this. So let's write findBy. So what you have to do immediately, entity class level for that city, what is the property name you return? Go to entity class, and this is the property name. So in this case, what you made, column name and property name. Yesterday we discussed this shortcut also. Okay, when column name and property name both are same, you don't need to go column annotation. It's up to your choice. Optional. You may give, you may not give it. But entity will consider like, okay, salary is the property name of entity class. Similarly, it will consider like column name also. This property belongs to the column of salary. Same name like that. Now our point is what? City. So you have to consider always property name of what? Property name of entity class, guys, because tomorrow assume my property name is city name. My property name is city name. Then column name is what? City. Definitely there is a difference. That's why you add it. Now, in this case, do you need to take city or city name? Definitely city name. That's why I written very carefully entity class property name. So let's see here. Now, what is my entity class property name based on this? So this is what you define, right, in the entity class. So based on that, what you have to take? You have to take city name. So you have to take city name. And the moment you taken city name, the note here it is, make sure first character as uppercase, and then add it to find by word. Find by and then add it to find by. So that means, so simple, guys. It's again, it is saying like follow the naming convention. That's all. If you generally, what is the naming convention of method names? Camel case. Camel case means first word in the lowercase and second word onwards, every character should be in the uppercase. But if you see here, first word, okay, find by, that is clear. Say, but third word, what happened? you written in the lowercase, you are violating the camel case format. So that's why JPA made this rule as mandatory. Like, and again, when you define variable names, how you will define camel case only. So the moment you take in city name is the property name, what you have to do? Make sure the first character is converted to capital character, uppercase, and then add it to the find by. That is what you have to do. Simple copy paste. Only thing is make the first character as uppercase. Okay, fine. And then what I said, data type of property. What is the data type of this property? String. What is the data type of this property? City name, string. So let's take here string. And argument name, you can give anything. It's a ABC, XYZ, you can give anything, whatever you want. Argument names, we can give anything. So you can give anything, whatever you want. Okay. So now this is what an abstract method. I said like an abstract method means there is no body. And you are defining inside where in interface. Repository is nothing but interface. Now can you guess whenever, I mean, it's a general question again. Whenever we are loading or we are finding data based on non-primary key column, based on non-primary key column, based on non-primary key column, how many records we may get? How many records we may get, guys? See, if it is a primary key column, 0 or 1. Yesterday we discussed at this point. That is the purpose of primary key, right? So generally, what is the point of primary key? If you are loading where employee ID equal to, if found one record you will get. So that means if it is primary key where class level, if you are using primary key column, you may get either 0 record or 1 record. There is no possibility of getting more than 1 record because of primary key column. But if it is a non-primary key column, like city, non-primary key column, what will happen? You may get 0 or more. So it might be 1, it might be 2, it might be 3. So that means more than one value. So if you observe here, find by ID, whenever we use predefined one, they given an optional object of single object. Optional and again internally contains only single object. So that means why single object? It's a primary key column. Either primary key point of view, if that value found in the table 5 here, yes, only this record is loaded. Earlier you given 100, there is no record. So that's why 0 or 1. But this time, city point of view, you given Hyderabad. What happened? 1, 2, 3. You given Delhi, 0. You given Bangalore, 1, 2, 3. You given New Jersey, 1. You given New York, 1. So that means what's happening? Country point of view. If I given India, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If I given USA, 2. If I given some other, okay, Australia something, 0. So that means based on the non-primary key columns, these are all what non-primary key columns. So sometimes there is a possibility of getting more than 0, 0 or more. But primary key point of view, always the probability of maximum number of records is 0 to 1. But remaining all point of view 0 to n because non-primary key columns. Now can you tell me what is the return type I have to define? So generally when you define methods inside the interface or wherever it is, definitely we have to define the what return type also, right? Now what is the return type can I expect? 0 or more. So it's all about now you're asking list of what objects, what we understood from our previous discussion. Okay, so let me take a new one. So It's all select operation. We discussed very quickly also in earlier, but again I will discuss one more time very quickly. Yeah, this is the DB table, right? Now, what we are expecting is generally what is the purpose of JPA? Object ORM purpose, object relational mapping. So that means in this case, what is, I mean, whenever you are doing insert operation, what you did, you give an object to, you give an object to Spring JPA. Which object you given? Entity class object. Entity class object you provided to the whom Spring JPA, and then Spring JPA what it does, it converted that entity into SQL query based on the what instruction. For example, you given save instruction, then you told by giving entity what you said, you given save. So that means what Spring Boot is doing in this case, converting that save an entity object into SQL query of insert. And finally, what happened? In the table level, SQL query is executed. Now you are doing reverse operation. What? Now this time what you are doing? You are this time you want, this is what inserting data into table. This time we are reading data from the table. So that means what you are asking is, now second scenario point of view, you are giving city value. In earlier case what you given employee ID value you given. The moment you give an employee ID value and you are asking like find operation. Find means select operation. Then what Spring Boot is done in this case again? Spring Boot JPA or Spring JPA module, whatever it is. Spring JPA module, what it is, what it does, it converted again SQL query of select query. Select query of based on the employee ID, it created a query. And then what happened? The moment it is executed, what will happen, guys? You will get a result set. You will get some result set. And again, the moment it got result set, what it is doing? It is converting that result set to a simple entity class objects. What? Entity object, and finally that is what returned. Return means wherever you called that findBy ID method, finally you got what? Entity object. That entity object you got. You got entity object. That is what happened in our findBy ID point. Now same thing we are doing, but only thing is non-primary key column point of view. So this time what you are doing, you are giving city name, and that means non-primary key column. City name you are giving, and you are asking find the find the record based on the like that to the Spring JPA. And what Spring JPA is doing is, Spring JPA again based on your instruction, based on your value, what it is doing, it is generating internally an SQL query, and it is generating internally again an SQL query, and then again that query is executed on the DB based on the what this time where condition level city value, city name, where it city equal to value like that, select query only, but it's all about select query. So here also it's all about select query. So and then what's happening, this query JPA, Spring Boot JPA is again executing that query on the database. Now this time again what you got, result set. But in earlier case the probability is what, 0 or 1 objects. 0 or 1 object. Why? It's a non-primary key column. Sorry, it's a primary key column. It's a primary key column. That's why 0 or 1 object. That's why only one single object. But this time it's a non-primary key column. So that means your result set in this case result set contains either 0 or 1 record. 0 or 1 record. That's why at the end you may get only one object. In case record is available, one entity object. But in this case, right now, we saw if you executed the query called as manually like this, three objects are there. Tomorrow it might be 30, tomorrow it might be 300, 3,000, 30,000 also. Who belongs to the Hyderabad? So it might be zero there, zero or more. So group of records, number of records. So that means what you have to understand here, the result set immediately executed, it is simply zero or more. Zero or more. Now in our table point of view, how many records we have? Three records we have. When you given Hyderabad, Hyderabad based point of view, you have three records. So that means more than one. Simply again what JPA will do. See, when you given find all without any, I forgot to tell that. Yeah. So the moment you given earlier, we used one more method also, find all method. I forgot to. Yeah. One more scenario we did, right? Without any column, you asked find all. The moment we did find all, what happened? The moment we are asking find all, Spring JPA converted that query, select star from like that, select query only without any where condition. And then you got how many records means zero or more. For example, your table is having zero records, there is no data. Or if it is having more than 2, 3, 5, 10, 10 records, so it's all about zero or more. So you got how many? Zero or more. When it is all find all method, when you call find all method, the story is all about. So here it is all about find by ID. I said like find by ID. Okay, so now zero or more. So that means in this case, what you got, guys, when you observe find all method, yeah, here find all method, what you got? List of objects. So that means what is the return type you got? List of objects. So that means your all records, zero or more records, are created as entity objects internally, and every entity object is again added to the array list. So that means what happened in this scenario is, so every record is converted as a small, I mean entity objects, individual entity objects, and again these are all entity objects you got as a list of objects. You got as a list of object. In earlier case only employee object, this time list of entity objects. Now same thing here also. Maybe this time the point here it is, whatever the find all method you taken, it's all about all the records and a predefined method. But this time what we are doing, we are defining a custom method as a developer, custom findBy method, and based on that custom findBy method, what Spring JPA is going to take care of a query, and finally you'll get more than. In this case also, the return type what you have to define, it's all about zero or more. More means more than one object. More than one entity object means list of object. So that means your expectation is what, I mean, our table point of view, three entity objects, three records are there, three entity objects are there. To hold all these objects again as a single instance, again you can tell to the Spring JPA, hey Spring JPA, I want list of employee objects again. So I want again list of employee objects. So that means what is the return type you have to give? List of employee details. Why employee details? Because you are working on the employee details table. So that means what you have to give here it is entity class name. So that means ultimately what is the final method you return? I mean finally list of, what is our entity class name? In our point, go to entity class. This is what entity class, right? What is our class name? This is what. Yeah, same thing you got in the find all also. I mean, there is no much discussion, but custom find by point of view, I'm telling you. Now, this is what you have to define your repository level. So this is how. Now you define what as a developer, you defined your own method inside the interface. That's why it is called as custom or derived. So this is what you will take. And where I said this is what has to be created in the repository of respective class. So it's all about go to employee repository and abstract method. Why abstract method? See, import the list. It's a list import. I think you know that. So why abstract method? It's an interface. And that's why I said this is what. Now you can start calling this method from your class. That's all. You don't need to write query. Now, so the next moment I'm asking, hey man, I want one more, my requirement is like this. Get female employees. This is what I said. Get only female employees. My requirement is this. Then what you will do? You have any column like find by gender in predefined method? You don't have because it's a non-primary key column. The point number first, what you have to identify here it is. First of all, female column. I mean, female employees is the your requirement. Nothing but gender. So nothing but what is the point of your gender equal to female. So that is what the concept here it is. The requirement point. So that means gender is what column? Primary key column or not? Primary key or not? So that means no primary key. So that means if it is no primary key means we can't use find by ID. Why it's not a primary key column? If it is primary key column, then you can use directly find by ID given by the repository. But this time it's a non-primary key column. Then what you have to do? Custom find by method or derived find by method. So how to write custom find by? Again follow same rules. What are those rules? These are all rules again you have to. So what it is? First write the find by. Find by is the word you have to write as usual. And then I said entity class name level. What is the property name which is dealing with the gender column of table? Go to entity class. So gender column and column name also gender. It's okay. So then just concentrate always on the property name, not on the column name when you are deriving the find by method. So the moment you copied gender and I said next point is convert, I mean make sure that character as a uppercase character, first character. Now find by gender and followed by then what I said immediately data type of the property. What is the data type of property? String. Again string. So then you can give any variable name, argument name, whatever you can give, and it's a abstract method. And you have to define what return type. Return type is mandatory. What return type you have to define again? Same here. So these are all dealing with which entity class? This entity class. So that means you're asking once all the more than one female employees are more than one female employees there in our table. If you observe here in our table, more than one female are there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Four, I mean, couple of members, male persons are there, couple of female are there. So more than one. And everything you are expecting in the form of what? A single object. Single list of object. See guys, what you have to understand here it is, if I given same requirement with respect to JDBC, in a regular Java JDBC, then first you have to prepare your query. Select a star from employee where gender equal to the value whatever you given, whatever point of view, like that you have to create the query. And then you have to get the connection object. And then you have to get the prepared statement object. And then you have to call execute method. And then you will get result set. And then result set has to be iterated. Iterated. So that means you have to iterate this entire result set and then create one by one Java object and then add again every object to list. Finally, these many steps you have to do. But here, what it is saying JPA, hey man, you just create one method inside the repository like this. That's all. Your work is done and call this method from your operations class. I'll take care remaining. So now next method what you created based on our requirement point of view. This is what find by gender, string gender. So now go to the operations class. See now, can you get that find by city? Yes, because you added right now. You added in your own repository. See, in the employee repository level, you added what? Find by city name and call that. And what is the value you have to pass? Pass Hyderabad. That's all. So in this case, this method is derived by us. Find by city name. Why it's not a primary key call. We define and then we are calling. That's all you have to do. And what is the return type of this method? List of employee details. So that means list of employee details equal to, employees, whatever it is, Hyderabad employees, whatever it is, reference variable. This is again Java. It's all again, or employees, whatever it is. Okay, so that's all. Now you will get all the employees. Let's print it. Okay, I think I will pass this thing here dynamically. Getting employees information based on city city name. So you have to define custom find by method as part of repositories. That is what I discussed till now. Now call this method again. So in the operations class, what you did, you call this method and pass some city value here that will replace here. And finally, internally, what will happen? It will come here, but internally, again, what will happen? Let's see the story. First, let's execute it. So call our method now, employee operations dot city something, get employees by city, right? So here I am passing the Hyderabad value, Bangalore value, whatever it is. So I'm passing value here. So that moment you're calling here, Hyderabad value comes here and that is passed here. And finally that call came here. But you are not written any SQL query. So see automatically you're getting all these three employees information or not, like what you got earlier, right? 136 and all. So we are getting or not, let's see. I'm printing it also. Run as. If you see here, the miracle, the magic, you are not written any SQL query, but the thing automatically SQL query is generated again like this. Where, yeah, especially this point of view we'll discuss. Yeah, this is what. Observe the query. What it taken, where city equal to. Where city equal to. How it knows that it has to take where condition level city? Because you defined a method. So that means what happening in this case? JPA provided custom find by method means you defined your own custom find by method. The moment you define this method and whenever you are calling this from our Java logic point of view, what's happening? Immediately whenever you are calling some value here, Hyderabad or whatever it is. So this value going to where? This call is going to the Spring JPA. That means internally hibernate. Spring JPA is nothing but internally hibernate whatever it is. Now what JPA is doing is, okay, JPA is understanding like by seeing the find by word, see understand how it is internally happening. Okay, let me save it first. Custom find by methods. Okay, so what in this case JVM is doing is it observed very carefully. Find by. Find by means it decided like, okay, let's prepare select query. Okay, select query. And that too on which table? On which table you created this, in which repository? In which repository you created? In this repository. So the repository you created inside this repository, right? So what it will do is it will observe this repository belongs to which table? Which table? Employee details. I mean entity class. So that means employee details means again inside the employee details, what is the table name you given? So internally it is having, it will go to the employee details entity class and it identified table name as employee details. Now it's all about it. It knows the employee details entity object class. So here you given all the mapping, which column belongs to which property and all. So simply what it will do, it will start creating the select query. That is okay. Based on the find by and table name it identified. Now you told what? City name. City name. So after find by whatever is the value given city name, what it will do is it will take this city name internally. This is all internal process. So internally Spring Boot JPA, it will take that city name and goes to entity class and identifies that property belongs to or mapped to DB table column. Which column of the table? Map it to which column of the table? Map it to which column of table? So this is how internally it will identify all the details and identifies property name which is mapped to the which column of table. I think I have always spelling problems. Okay, so this is how it is doing. So what it is doing internally by taking the city name, again it is going back to the entity class, and from the entity class it is checking. Okay, let's take entity class here. Okay, I'll just make very clear. Yeah, so this is the entity class you have, right? Okay. So what it is doing based on this entity class point of view, it is going and checking the city name belongs to which column. So it is coming here. It is checking in the entity class. It belongs to which column? City column. So then it will take the city and it start created SQL query like select star from you given find by city name, right? Then it will apply where condition and then column name it decided as city. That is how internally it is created as city query. And whatever the value you passed Hyderabad, then city equal to Hyderabad. Like that, finally this query is created and this query is executed again on the DB level. This query is executed again on the database. Sent it to database. So that means nothing but executed. Immediately what database will do? Database will run this query. The moment whatever it is doing, it will get how many records? 3 records it will get internally. But it is all about in the result set format. So it's again all in the some recorded format. I mean in the records format. Result set format. Again what it will do? Internally, the moment it got all these 3 records, again these 3 records are converted to again these 3 records are converted to 3 entity objects. Okay, 3 entity objects, and all these 3 entity objects again put as part of the list of objects, and finally this list of object is returning back to the caller, whoever is calling. Now finally what you are getting? List of entity objects who belongs to Hyderabad location. list of employee objects who belongs to the Hyderabad. That is what happens in our front end also. Now what, for example, assume as a front end point of view, you displayed location, select your location. They entered Hyderabad and they clicked on the search. The moment they entered Hyderabad and they clicked on the search, from the front end point of view, I'm telling you, they clicked on the search button. The moment you sent, that Hyderabad value will come to the back end. It come to the back end. And in the backend, nothing but our Spring Boot JPA, Spring JPA. So what you will do by taking that, you will call the JPA layer. Okay, set, take this Hyderabad value. I mean, we will write that logic and take this Hyderabad, and then you are sending to the DB, and finally it got 3 records. So total 3 employee information you got, right? So again, those 3 records you will pass it back to the as a response to the front end. Now you will say like, okay, I found these 3 employees information. Like that, you will give. Yeah. So whatever the 3 records you are having, right? Those 3 records you will pass to front end. Then automatically front end will take all this information and front end will display in a proper beautification format. It's all HTML, CSS and all. They will display in table format. Okay, this is what, these are the 3 people available in the Hyderabad like that. They will display in a front end format, CSS, whatever it is. So that is how things will happen in a real time application. Now, that is what happens in this story. See, this much magic is happening internally. But as a developer, it's all just 1 minute of time tomorrow when you know all the details. That's what I said. Now, what is the second requirement we taken? Maybe if it is all about based on the city name we done. I think I created one more method where it is. Yeah, gender. So this is what based on gender. Simply what you did, you created again same method in the repository. That's why now call this method again from the, so you already have a method. Now if I'm asking based on the country, what you will do? Okay sir, I will do. Let's take like employee details, and what you have to do, find by what I asked you based on the country, but you cannot write whatever you want. Simply go to entity class, find out country, property, copy, come back here, paste here, and make C as capital, and followed by, you have to pass some value, right? That's the purpose. Again, go back to the DB. I mean, again, go back to the what? Entity class only, and copy that data type. What is the data type? String. You can take same variable name also, but you can give different also. But it's better to give same thing. And colon, done. Other than primary key column, non-primary key columns point of view, you have to do these things. Now you can call this method simply, it will give based on the country. It will based on the gender, whether it is true or not. See. So now see what I will do based on gender. Based on gender. Oh, sorry. In the operations class, I will do. So now my requirement is based on gender. So what I will do, same thing. I'll copy paste this logic and I'll modify it. I don't have time to type it. Based on what? Get employees by gender. I mean, I'm just writing here. And here you can take gender data type is you taken as what, string only. That's why gender. And I'll replace. So here getting based employees based on gender. And then based on the gender value what you passed. And so here what is the method you have to take? You're already defined find by gender, and pass that gender value whatever it is. That's all. You got all employees and iterate it. Now if you are passing female, you will see 6 to 7 employees. If you are passing male, you will see 3 employees or 4 employees. If you are passing some other value, you will see 0 records. So it's all. You are not writing any SQL query. You have just generated a simple custom query, custom method in the repository based on the JPA instructions. JPA is saying, hey man, can you do this favor for me for the non-primary key columns point of view? Remaining and all I will take care. So that's why as a developer, we just made this custom findBy method, and remaining all the actions, like that's what I said, internally taking result set, converting entity objects entities into list, all this story is happening by the JPA. Now I call this method again, get employees based on the gender. Even I can generate based on the what country also, we are already written, right, based on country. So I'll pass country name something like that. So based on country, and then by country. So and then I'll pass country. So what is the method you have to call? You're already defined. So if you're not defined, then again you have to go back and define that. Find by country, and then pass that country name. Then you will get all the countries employees. Save it. Now if I'm asking based on the what age, you don't have age find by method as of now. Just add a method here. Find by age, integer age, done. Find by name, string name, done. So like that, for non-primary key columns, you have to add find by methods. So you guys are clear until this, guys? Say yes or no, then I will move to next point. Meanwhile, I will execute. Yeah, let me call one by one. Employee operations dot get by city, okay? Get by country name. So I want all USA people or whatever it is. So then fine, and then employee operations dot find get the third what we written gender, I think, yeah, gender. So I want other gender people in my data if there are any other gender people available or not. So if no, there is no one, zero. So that means list will come zero list, nothing will happen. So see here. Yeah. If you observe here, getting employees based on the city. And if you observe the query also, hibernate where city, where country, where gender. Because you written three find by method, custom find by methods. Find by city, find by gender, find by country, like that. So that's why it is started creating queries. Dynamically it is creating the queries based on your find by structure. Now see here, city point of view, three people are there. Yes, USA point of view, based on the USA, right? Two people are there. Other gender people are, there is no gender with other. So that's why zero records, nothing is printed. That means zero records you got back. If you given some other value also here, then again you will see some other data. So this is all about handling find by point of view. Now my next point here it is, requirement is like this. Get employees from Bangalore. No, 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 no. I will not take like that. Yeah. Get employees from India and belongs to Bangalore. So sometimes assume, I don't know. I mean, you can take some city. I think Hyderabad there in the Pakistan also. See, Hyderabad there in the Pakistan. Assume if I have a record like this, and Hyderabad, I'm not sure, having in India also. So that's why this is what you cannot say, sir. If I written simply, so generally select. I mean, SQL query point of view, select star from employee where country equal to India. I mean, I'm writing high level, and city equal to Bangalore. So you can say, sir, you can say like, sir, why I have to write country Bangalore? Sorry, country India, I can directly write Bangalore. So because in our table we have only Bangalore city. Okay, I know that. But assume some reasons Bangalore is available in the USA also. Who knows? Sometimes names will match, right? That's why. That is the purpose. I want people from the India country, and that too belongs to Bangalore. India, and that Bangalore belongs to India. Or else I can take like this, man. Okay, instead of all this. I want female employees. I don't want to. I want female employees from India. That's what. Now go and verify. So write SQL query first. Okay, you don't need to write actually in the programming point of view, but just our analysis point of view, we are writing this SQL queries. In case if you want to write an SQL query for that, what you are doing, that is what concentration here it is. So what you will do, if you are writing where country equal to India, what will happen? You will get all gender people, like even male people also. But my requirement is I want only female employees from the India. So that's why you take an and gender equal to female. So you taken like female. So then how many people are there available from the India country? Of female employees are total 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people are there. Total 6 people are there from the India female employees. So here the point what you have to observe here it is this time the conjunction happened between two columns. Earlier you given only one column. This time you got two columns. Then what you have to do? So more than one column. Simply what you observe from this requirement this time in the where class level you got more than one column. More than one column. And that too what it is expecting combination means it's all about and operation. In a scale point of view, female employees from India means and operation. So that means more than one column and with respect to and operation. Then how can you handle it? Then how can you do that? So how can we write custom findBy method here also? Yes, again we can write custom findBy method in this case also. Same story, nothing will change. But when you are having more than one column, you have to use conjunctions and or conjunctions based on that. You have to use those. So now go back here. What is the requirement is saying? One thing is you have to consider gender and followed by country. See, it's a requirement, generic requirement like get employees based on gender and country. That is the combination you have to implement the logic. So that means it's not fixed values. I given like this. Tomorrow I can give anything. Female from the India, female from the USA like that. So the generic requirement is you have to get the employees information based on their gender and country. So if I given male and USA, I have to give how many male people available from the USA. If I given like female and India, then I have to say how many female employees are there from the India like that generic requirement. What is this? Please show the logic implementation abstract method by open declaration or custom method. I don't get your question, Venkatesh. Logic of implementation, that's what I said earlier. You remember or not? We are writing always interfaces and abstract methods, right? But I said one point earlier for these are all abstract methods, implementation is taking dynamically by Spring Boot JPA internally. So these are all abstract methods only. But how implementation is happening means when you started executing your program, internally these are all things auto implemented internally. If you want me to show, I cannot show it. So show it in the sense I can't show 100%, but internally for all these abstract methods implementation are internally, it's all Spring Boot JPA is taking care internally. So they will use some reflection API and all, they implemented a lot of things internally. So we can't see directly what is the implementation of this in the dynamic or runtime level, what is happening. We can't see that. It's all they handled with some reflection API point of view and all. So that is how you can see what is the implementation of this method logic. So I think that is what your answer. Okay, let's concentrate here. So you can't see that. It's all whatever JPA is saying, you have to follow. Internally, they are taking care. Internally, they are taking care of. See, it's all about how they are handling internally. It's all internal implementation. We can't say with our eyes what's happening. But they define like that. They simplified the process, and internally, lot of automation they are doing. But what is the automation they are doing means, if you are have time, go through the Spring API documentation. And so if you search in the Google, you will get the API documentation. That is one way. Or if you have a time, go to this repository interfaces. They given a lot of explanation here. Start reading all these things. Then you will come to know all the solutions. You got my point? So start reading all this official documentation and all. If you have time, so then you will get a lot of ideas internally what they are doing. They are explaining all these things here. To understand again all these things, again you know very much about Hibernate. This entity manager, these are all things available related to Hibernate. That's what the process here it is. Spring Boot is simplifying the life of developer when comparing with Hibernate also. So they are giving like fill in the blanks to us. They are saying like, hey man, I'm giving the fill in the blanks to you. Just fill the blanks, what you want. Remaining I'll take it. Like that, they given all these solutions. Okay, let's come back here. Now it's all based on the two columns. I have to involve gender column, country column. Then what I have to do? Find by method only. So how to write here? It is simple. Find by, if it is one column, what you did? Gender. Find by gender. And here this time two columns. And that too, your requirement is very clearly saying like and operator. Both conditions should satisfy. So then use a conjunction called as and here. And second column is what? Country. That's all. Country. And here earlier when you have only one column, you taken what? One argument, right? String like gender. This time you have how many? And country. So that means second column is involving. That's why you have to take country like this. I mean, argument name anything, no problem. There is no problem with argument name. See, this is what you have to define. That's all. So this is how you can define the custom find by method. Tomorrow, if you have three columns with and operation, I mean, belongs to India, I mean, belongs to so and so gender, belongs to so and so country, and belongs to, um, say, for example, your condition. Okay. Yeah. So I want based on the India gender I taken city. Okay. So assume your requirement is demanding same requirement I taken like this. Three columns like get employees based on gender and from a specific city, from a specific country. This is what your requirement. So what you have to understand here it is sometimes city name common in two countries. That's why I need very specifically so and so gender people from so and so city from so and so country like that. So that means you have to involve how many columns? Three columns. Gender, country followed by city. Then that means what you will write find by gender. Gender you have to copy this from the entity class. And so a and you have to use here. That is what conjunction is important here. That's all. If you know this point, then you are done with that. So you have to use and conjunction and second column. Similarly, and country and city. Then how many came here? Gender, country, city. Total three values. So that's why three method arguments should come here. And in the same order you have to give city, gender, sorry, gender, country, city, string, city, abstract method. And this will also give sometimes more than one record. So that's why you want list of objects. Define this return type. That's all. Now see, let's execute this first. So I added this custom findBy method now. So what? Based on, so this is what you did. Get employees based on gender and country. So that call this now and see how the query is getting executed. Public void get employees by city and gender, or what I taken. Yeah, sorry. Gender and country, right? By gender and, so I will take string country comma string gender. So this is not our important. It's all about what you defined in the repository. That is more important. So call repository dot find by. Yes, we are already defined. We are already defined find by gender and country. So first value should go what? Gender. So please follow that. And second one is country. So this gender value will go to this column level. This value will go to this column level. Okay. So that's all. Now you'll get again list of objects. Return type. You given list of objects, right? Let's see you got all the people or not. So call this method again now. I'll do one thing. I'll comment all these things so that we can avoid the confusion of outputs. Now employee operations dot find by or get something, whatever you written. This is a different method. Gender and a country. So pass first country value. I'm passing like USA and I'm passing value like male. I want to see from USA. I want USA from USA country male people I want. So that's why I'm passing these values and I'm executing my logic and see the query how it is executing. What happened? One person is there from the USA. And it's all about query generation is more important. That is what we have to focus more. See here, gender and country. Earlier point of view, what happened? Only city point of view taken. This time you added two columns. Custom find by method, but you added with a conjunction of and operator and country. So that's why it taken under and country. Gender first and country. So based on that, from USA, one employee is there called as 8. Gender is male. So similarly, if you given India or whatever it is, from India, how many female are there? So now you will get 4 to 5 columns, I think. From the India point of view, how many are there? Oh, so you don't have any people. Okay, I think value is different. Lowercase. Yeah, see here 1, 4, 5, 1, 4, 6, 7, 9. These are all belongs to India and as well as they are female people. So like that you have to do. Now the third one, what I added third column. So you just try this. I'm not going to do that. Now if I given requirement like this, my requirement is get employees, either they belongs to either they belongs to gender male or city equal to city Hyderabad. So understand the requirement. Here requirement is more important. What is my requirement? I'm saying get employees information. They should belongs to gender male. So that means what is this requirement is saying is all male employees. So that means even their gender is matching to the male. I want all male employees. R operator I used guys. R city equal to Hyderabad. So that means when it comes to Hyderabad city, Hyderabad city, I don't want to consider gender. So that means I want to get male and female. That is what the requirement here it is. But when it comes to Chennai, Bangalore point of view, other cities point of view, oh, I want only male employees. But when it comes to Hyderabad, there is no compulsion of male. I mean, this first gender. I want any gender from the Hyderabad. But from other areas, I want only male employees. That is how I given the requirement. So to achieve this, how you will write SQL query? For example, assume it is SQL query. Then how will you do? R operator. You will use R operator, right? Select what I given gender equal to male or city equal to Hyderabad. So that means what will happen from Hyderabad perspective, you will get male and female also. I think you got. Yeah, see, for Hyderabad perspective, you got female and male. But other cities point of view, you got only male. That is what my requirement. For Hyderabad only, I giving an exemption for the female also. But other cities and all, I want only male employees. From from Hyderabad perspective, I want female. That is what my requirement. So that's why what you used or operator here. Now, how will you write this with respect to find by? Simple. In place of and you used earlier and right as a conjunction. Now you will use or. That's all. Find by. Add this method in the repository. Find by what? Gender. Okay. This time not and or. So use the conjunction of or and then followed by city. That's all. Now total how many values? Find by gender city. That means two values. That means two method arguments. And that too, first value should be gender. So that means string gender comma string city. And these data types from where you have to pick up guys from the entity class. Don't forget that point. And these names also generally you have to pick up from the entity class. These names and these data types. That's all. Now give like list of something whatever it is and call this method. Your work is done. So now automatically I will add these methods here. But I will not execute. You can try on your own. Third one is this one. Get employees either belongs to a gender or from a specific city. That is what the generic requirement here it is. So you can pass any gender or something like that. So that's all. Now you can call these methods automatically. This time what will happen? This query will be created internally. Hibernate will create a query like select star from employees where gender equal to so and so or city equal to so and so or operator it will use this time. You just try this. This is all comes under the custom find by method guys. So similarly, I given couple of examples in the material find by point of view, custom find by methods. You just try all those find by operations. Like, okay, so not operator, something like it's all very basic code operations. You can do that. So you just try go through that find by list in the material. I given headings. I given some set of examples. You just try all those examples on your own. like how to write custom findBy methods. See the magic or the thing what JPA is doing here, it is lot of work reducing to the developer. You written just 3, 4, 10 lines of logic, but you are doing lot of database operations. So many database operations without writing single SQL query. We did almost 10 to 15 SQL, I mean DB operations, but we are not written as of now single SQL query. And that too, you written 1 or 2 lines of logic, not more than that, to achieve a big functionality also. That is the advantages of frameworks. So anything else? With this, we are done with custom findBy methods also. And tomorrow, I mean in the next class, Monday, I'll complete delete and update. So delete and update point of view, we will discuss, because we are done with insert, save operation, find all operations, find operations. Now we are pending with the delete and update. So I'll discuss this on the Monday, and then we'll see next topic. Okay, so that's all. If you have anything, you can ask.